How's it going, everyone, and welcome to the Second Assault live stream here at the DICE LA studio in Los Angeles, California. I'm Alex Mendez, more commonly known as Golden Boy, and joined with me is the wonderful, gorgeous, and insanely tall Ben Jones.
You're too kind.
Yeah, too kind of DICE. How you doing, man?
Doing well.
Good to see you as always. And all right, so first and foremost, we have a lot of awesome things to show from Second Assault. You were the lead designer on Second Assault. So for those who may be tuning in for the first time and not understand, like, what is this crazy thing called Second Assault? What is it? What is Ben Jones' interpretation of Battlefield 4 Second Assault?
So Second Assault is primarily 4 maps from Battlefield 3, all fan favorites, redone in Frostbite 3. Absolutely beautiful, bringing over tons of concepts from Battlefield 4, including levolution. You're going to see a ton of those elements spread across all these maps. Yeah. Incredibly polished, great graphics, everything that Xbox One provides you, including 60 frames a second. It's a tremendous experience.
Yeah, of course, really awesome stuff. We're going to be checking out a couple of maps here, by the way. First up, we have CTF on Operation Metro. Then later on, we have, I believe it's going to be Rush on Gulf of Oman, and then it's going to be Obliteration on Operation Firestorm. And you also want to stay tuned because at the end of the show, we have an awesome, exclusive, it's brand new, never been seen before, Battlefield 4 Second Assault trailer for you guys. So let's go ahead and jump into the action. It's time to check out everyone's favorite, Operation Metro, Capture the Flag. Let's get it going. We have a couple of, and I'm going to go ahead and pick up my fancy controller here and see what we're going to check out. So tell me a little bit here about Operation Metro, Ben. What have been some of the changes that you guys have done to this map to just make it a little bit better? Yeah,
so the overarching theme here with Metro is, it's post-nuke, right, in BF3, so you're seeing all of these elements completely redone. I mean, you see the rubble scattered everywhere, the debris outside, the park on the other side of the map is completely overgrown and deserted, and that carries into the Metro itself. I mean, you're seeing a lot of the devastation that players have wrought on this Metro over the past 2 years, right? So everything is torn apart. One of the great things that we have levolution-wise is all the ceiling collapses that you're going to see spread throughout the center section that can be triggered by everything from gunfire or explosions to people just running up with a knife. Yeah. Big cave-ins coming in, lots of smoke and dust obscuring everything. It's totally chaotic. It's the Metro you love with a lot of great refinements.
Yeah, so you mentioned the cave-ins that actually happened, and you can actually see a couple of them scattered along the map. There's like portions of it that will tell you. Now, how does the player trigger those cave-ins?
Well, again, so as simple as gunfire, like you're bringing down these supports or the structure itself, the ceiling above. A lot of different ways to go about that, right? But you're going to see them just happen in battle, but you can be very tactical with them as well, right? So waiting for a player to turn around the corner, you shoot a couple beams, it'll collapse right in his head. Or say you want to advance into a tough section, maybe you're in rush and caught up. So you can, you can throw a grenade, take it down, cover the entire section with smoke, and then advance through that cover. So a lot of different ways to use those things.
Oh, that's awesome. And then there are also some other crazy stuff you guys added to the park section of Metro, which I think is pretty cool. Now, CTF, you're going to see a lot of these players really converging indoors, inside, and you also mentioned that the tunnel itself is flooded. So that's a nice little addition, seeing the water effects of frostbite, of course, looking also gorgeous.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, you can see the player reactions in the water. The water is totally dynamic. We went a long way with the visuals in this tunnel section as well. Pulled back on the blue filter you saw in BF3 and really let this section shine. So it's absolutely gorgeous now. And when you've got all the levolution on top of that, it's just absolutely crazy.
Yeah, and then just to go back about the park real quick, so you guys actually added basically tall grass that you guys can burn, and that can show off new positions, and snipers can't really hide anymore. So for those of you who are snipers and always thought you would get away with it, not anymore.
Yeah, that's right.
Guys like me have our revenge.
It's one of those things I think that really shined in the event a couple weeks ago on Caspian border. We have this tall burning grass because these areas are completely overgrown now. It made its way into Metro as well, and it's really fantastic in helping you advance, flush out the snipers, as you said. So one of the favorite little sections, that tiny island in the water in the park section, well, that's covered with dry grass. So launch an RPG over there, smoke the sniper out. Now he no longer has cover, so it completely changes the way you play. It's a really nice addition to the park.
Yeah, obviously Metro has always been that fan favorite, or one of the most played maps. That's 100% for certain in Battlefield 3. So it's great to see that it's being brought back here and being kept true to the map itself. And I'm pretty sure as a designer you want to put all these crazy awesome moments like you have in Siege of Shanghai where, you know, a giant tower collapses, yet you reserved yourself this time around. It was like, well, we want to make this a little bit more intimate, right? Make the levolution moments that much more important with the micro levolution. Why go that route? Why not just add a giant building in the middle of the map and just have that fall down?
Well, so I mean, we do go with some of those larger levolution moments. You know, in Caspian, Gulf of Oman, you're going to see some of those. What we have here is more of an infantry-focused map, so we wanted to make sure that we maintain the core that people understand, but also change things up based on learnings and community feedback over the past couple of years, right? So, you know, we've added a couple of new routes to alleviate choke points. We threw in the elevators in that main section, a great flank there, absolutely cool. And, you know, with all the levolution and stuff going on as well, you're going to get a completely different feel in Metro, but it's going to be truly familiar. So players that have been grinding in this map and enjoying it over the years are going to feel right at home, but everything that's new in here is going to make it feel fresh.
And then, of course, we're taking a look here at Metro, most importantly, but we are looking at Capture the Flag, which is something that is a first for Battlefield 4. I mean, of course, it wasn't Battlefield 3, and it's a game type that people really enjoy. I love Capture the Flag. I feel like it's just the standard when it comes to first-person shooters, and it also just has some of the greatest moments in gaming. Why bring back CTF, 1, and 2, any changes from BF3 CTF to BF4 CTF that players should know about when they hop into Second Assault?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, we brought back CTF because we thought it would be a great fit for these particular maps, and you're going to get a lot of changes, right? It's going to be a very different experience going from Metro to playing it in CTF, where it's much more open and you have the vehicles to complicate things. It plays really well, and we've seen the application early on. We looked at a couple different game modes. We said, okay, this is the one for these maps.
Yeah.
Great match, first of all. And then in terms of enhancements, we went a long way to do things with like the UI, player feedback stuff, voiceovers, all of that to communicate the game mode a little bit better, so players will have a clearer understanding of exactly what's happening on the battlefield. So we feel like we've pulled that off, and it's an enhanced mode now, but it just plays so well in all these maps, so we're really excited to bring it back.
Yeah, and then in talking about the maps, you know, and how this particular game type and, you know, all the other game types, I know that that's a challenge, right? To be able to just balance it for, you know, we have CTF on Gulf of Oman versus CTF on Operation Metro, right? Like, it is substantially different. It plays much different. When you're looking into implementing this and making it balanced for each and every map, what are some of the challenges that you face as a developer, as a designer, to say, like, all right, we want to make sure that when players hop into Metro, they're going to get a CTF experience that they know and love, yet it's fresh for Metro versus what's going on in Gulf of Oman or Firestorm, for example.
Right. So a lot of it is spatial considerations, right? So with Metro, obviously, you've got the tight corridors, and you've got a little separation, right? Like one team starts below in the Metro and one team starts up high. So you have to kind of think about that. Like, all right, well, how are we going to make that work? Oh, maybe we have to add some new routes in order to make it a little bit more fair for the team that's starting down below. It certainly makes it really interesting. And then you know go for a larger map like Caspian. There are a lot of different features spread throughout that map that are very unique. So we try to combine all those together and look at the distances and everything else and weigh it and make sure that we're giving each team a really fair experience. So that's probably the biggest challenge, but in all the play testing we've done, we think we've really narrowed down what those spaces should be like, and players are enjoying it. We've had a good time here. Can't wait for everyone else to give it a shot.
Yeah, no, and for those of you guys who don't know, the players who are playing right now are actually DICE employees who are playing, and I just got to give a shout out to Legendary, because the dude's a beast. He's 25-7, and he's just tearing it apart. Legendary is actually one of the QA guys here, so he's just an animal, and I would not want to run into him in Battlefield.
No, I
100%.
mean, just like anybody else out in the real world that's playing, 12 hours a day playing this game, they're going to give you a rough time.
Yeah, for sure. And then Mars. I'm sorry, Mears. I was going to say Mears. Mars actually 21-4. So we'll actually check out Mars in a little bit after they respawn here. But yeah, so I think that with these new games, these new maps releasing, and of course staying true, but at the same time being a unique experience to it. What is it for you as a designer to see all the players just hop back into it and try and do their usual techniques, yet have to, change it up a little bit? How does that make you feel as a designer to be like, you thought you were going to get away with that, what worked in BF3, but no, it's changed up this time. Or like, for example, the dry grass, like those elements. you know, how does that make you feel as a designer to just know that
great.
there's so many different elements?
Absolutely. And, you know, I think the way that we approach it is, you know, we didn't want to go in and say hard nerf anything. I mean, there are a lot of aspects of these maps that people love, and they're, you know, those same aspects other people might not enjoy. So we tried to put in, you know, layers of complexity that would allow players to potentially deal with those things, but all driven through their own actions. And, you know, the burnable grass is a great example there. But, you know, another great example is the collapses here in Metro, right? I mean, you're coming around this corner. These are some of the most contentious corners in all of Battlefield, right? And have now points that you can, you know, throw a grenade at, drop an entire ceiling down onto 4 or 5 guys that are holding that corner, give yourself some cover and move up. It changes everything. So it's really great that we were able to do that. And you know, personally, I'm really proud that of all we've accomplished with these maps. Our primary focus was to make everything player-driven.
Yeah, and then that's always super important, especially when, you know, you have things like Levolution, and when players hear about it, they're like, oh, you know, that's something it's a dynamic map or whatever, and they feel like they're not in control of it or it's scripted. Right. But yet this time around, though, it's like, hey, you decide when this happens, and I think that's important, right, to give the player that kind of freedom to be able to make those decisions. So I guess, you know, in your time of play testing the games, I'm sure you've played tested. Anything crazy that you've witnessed, only Battlefield moments that you've witnessed playing Metro again, and being like, man, this map still is fun, even from BF3 to BF4.
So many. I think one of my favorites, and we kind of anticipated this when we put it in, but you know, the functional elevators now in this core section, just experiencing it for yourself the first time, going up that elevator, the doors open, you come out, there's 3 or 4 guys hugging the escalator and just absolutely destroying them with a shotgun, bringing down a ceiling on top of guys on your left. There are a few things that are more satisfying than that, and I'm excited for everyone else to give that a shot too.
Yeah, that's always a pleasure. And taking a look here at some of the action that's going on and seeing what we have right now with the score. So actually it's 0-0. No one has been able to cap a flag yet, which is quite surprising. Thought that we'd at least have 1 flag cap by now. We have about 1 minute and 50 seconds left here, and neither team has budged. Just it just shows, man. Again, Metro's back and forth as it always has been.
What's crazy, I mean, we played yesterday and it was 3-0, right? Yeah. So that shows you how Metro can go. I mean, these teams are super balanced. It's crazy contentious in here, and you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, it seems like we do have a flagpole, though, that was made by the red team, so they might be able to actually make this one happen. Let's see, man. I mean, the opportunity, and look here. So the hallway that actually these players are walking through, there is a light in this hallway, but you can actually turn that off.
That's right. So this hallway, as well as a new one that we added across for it as a relief point, both have dynamic lighting in them. Okay. Players might have seen a little bit of that in some maps from BF4, but we wanted to push that specifically in Metro because we said, all right, let's make these already chaotic environments even more intense. And for me, you know, I run around with a tac light a lot, and I wanted another opportunity to use that, especially in these close corridors, right? So go in, pop the lights, you know, complete darkness, and then throw on your tac light, blind people real quick, take them all out, and then rush through the hallway. Great way to do it.
Yeah, it's like the mixing and matching of like what your attachments can be. Like you said, the tac light, for example, which has become pretty helpful to me in my time of play, because when I know that I want to try and stay at least a little bit hidden, and then you know, bust out that tac light, they're like, whoa, what happened? My face. Right. It's just blinding with sun. So that's obviously an awesome thing that you guys decided to implement into the game. And, you know, I guess, of course, just staying true to what Metro is, a crazy, fast-paced map, yet at the same time, lots of variety to it. And Funk Static here is trying to actually do some damage, able to take out 2 players. Banana pancakes, most importantly. I love banana pancakes. Delicious. Just want to emphasize that real quick. But yeah, so it seems like we're about to be closing out this matchup here, but taking a look at the scoreboard, Legendary 44-13. Why is he so good? I truly have no idea. But with that said, 0-0 tie. So it seems like we have a little bit of a challenge going on here at the DICE offices. These guys they're going at it. We still have 2 more, so plenty more opportunities for either one to be able to benefit with a victory.
It's going to be good. Somebody will get it.
Yeah, and of course, so talking about Second Assault, that is a part of Battlefield 4 Premium, and you actually have some involvement in Premium. Right. I guess, why don't you break down Premium for those who may not know what it is?
Well, so Premium is a fantastic service that we started delivering with Battlefield 3, and we're building on even more with Battlefield 4, right? So you're going to get all the expansion packs that are coming out, great new weapons and everything else that comes with that. But on top of that, you're going to get weekly content too, whether that's, you know, new camos or maybe a new knife. A lot of different opportunities to keep you engaged, you know, each and every week. So Premium is a fantastic service. If you own Battlefield 4, absolutely recommend picking that up.
And I just want a golden knife. Is that a possibility?
We'll see what we can do.
Okay, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Well, guys, Battlefield 4 Premium, of course, if you are a premium member, you do get Second Assault 2 weeks early. So it is a pretty awesome perk there, you know, might want to check that out. So to learn more about Premium, we actually have a little trailer hooked up for you guys. So go ahead and enjoy. Ben, thank you so much for your time as always.
Thank you.
We have plenty more Second Assault action. We'll see you right after this.